Hello, my name is Eric Orndine, and I will be explaining on how to use and create a program like mine. The name of my program is SI Unit Calculator. I will first begin with starting the program. Here it is. As you can see, there's a window for it down here. To begin with, this is the unit command box. It contains every unit of measurement that the program can convert, such as length, temperature, area, volume, and weight. Having clicked on one, such as length, then the Imperial command box will contain feet, yards, inches, miles, and the metric command box will contain meters, millimeters, decimeters, kilometers, and centimeters. Both of these command boxes will change if the user picks a different form of measurement, such as weight. The Imperial command box will then contain pounds and ounces, and the metric will contain kilograms, grams, and milligrams. Let's say the user wants to convert a form of length. Let's say, for example, 60 feet to metric meters. The user will then input 60, click feet, and then meters on the metric side, and hit calculate. 60 feet converts to 18.288 meters. If the user were to want to clear everything in each comma box and text box, then the user can click reset and it will ask them, do you want to clear your input? Let's say the user changes his mind and doesn't want to clear the Imperial text box and comma box and the unit comma box. So you can click no. In doing so, it will keep these three things but clear these two. As you can see, there it is. Let's say the user wants to convert 60 feet to metric kilometers. Now hit calculate. That converts to 0.018288 and so on. Now, once more we click reset. If you want to cancel and leave the program the way it is, hit cancel. Stays the same. If you want to reset and clear everything you see here, then you hit yes. And now the program is clear. Now, for the code that makes my program work. To begin with, in a global declaration, I dimmed num1 as a double. Num1 is a variable name for the number, any number, that the user will input in either text box, this one or this one. I dimmed text box locator as a string. Text box locator is a piece of code that will locate which text box the user input a number into, either this one or this one. Now, I will explain what this means. CMB unit is this here. It's the comma box. If the user chose length in the comma box for units, then the Imperial comma box and metric comma box will have these forms of measurements. The Imperial will contain feet, yards, inches, and miles, and the metric comma box will contain meters, millimeters, decimeters, kilometers, and centimeters, and so on. For temperature, the Imperial comma box will contain Fahrenheit, the metric will contain Celsius. For area, the Imperial comma box will contain square miles, square yards, square feet, square inches, and the Imperial comma box will contain square meters, square millimeters, square kilometers, square centimeters, and square decimeters. Each comma box will change when having picked that form of conversion. Volume and weight have their own forms of conversions, measurements. This private sub is what identifies what text box the user input a number into. If the user were to input a number into the Imperial text box, then the txt imperial dot text changed, meaning that what this is now containing a number, then the txt metric enabled equals false, meaning if the user were to input something here, then this text box will be disabled, not allowing the user to input a number. If the user were to input a number into the metric text box, then the imperial text box will be disabled, as it shows here. txt metric text changed, then the txt imperial box enabled equals false, leaving it in a disabled state. Now, this is the coding behind the calculate button, which is this one here. This is what contains every single form of mathematics behind the forms of conversions for each method of measurement. For example, this is where the user can this is why the user can convert any form of measurement from imperial to metrics. In explaining it, this is the conversion rate for imperials from feet to meters, metric meters. So how this works is num1, which is the variable name for the number that the user will input into either text box, in this case the imperial text box. So their number multiplied by 0.3048 will give them the result of metric meters. Let's say the user wanted to convert yards to meters, then num1, once again, a variable name for their number, then their number will be divided by 1.0936 to give them the result they want. The list goes on. A code for each form of conversion has to be written. We cannot just write a single form of code, such as yards to kilometers, yards to centimeters, inches to meters, inches to millimeters, inches to decimeters. We also have to write the code for decimeters to inches, millimeters to inches, meters to inches, centimeters to yards, kilometers to yards, because we don't know what the user wants to convert. All you see here is the code behind every form of conversion from imperial to metrics. From this point here, we are now converting metrics to imperials. So, for example, if the user wanted to convert 65, which is in this case num1, then we would multiply 65 by 3.2808399 to give them the result they want. If the user wanted to convert kilometers, metric kilometers, to yards, then we will then multiply num1, once again, their number, by 1093.61 to give them the result. Every single line of code you see here is so that the user is able to convert whatever they need to what they want. This function, titled which text box, it is a form of allowing the program to identify which text box is being used by the user. And an easier way to explain this is if we go further down to the program. This sub right here is for the reset button, right here. When having clicked reset, there would be a message box shown. It would display, do you want to clear input, titled reset. That message box will contain buttons yes, no, and cancel, and display a question mark. If the user were to click on yes, then it will reset the index for comma box unit, comma box metric, and imperial comma box back to -1, meaning it will erase whatever is in those comma boxes, and it will leave a blank space in the metric and imperial text box, as well as leaving them enabled, allowing the user to type a number into them. Else if. So if the user were to click no, then the text box locator, which was this here and this here, will not come into work. So if the user were to click no, then the text box locator equals 0, meaning that txt metric is blank and the imperial is enabled. Else, if the user were to select metric, then the imperial text box will now be blank and the metric text box will be enabled. This is the way that the program identifies which text box is going to be reset and leaving the text, in other words, number, left alone in the text box that the user had input a number into. And this is just summing up what this is. This is commenting out what each thing here is doing. And this last function is the user request. Dim output as a string and return the output and the function. So this is what's going to give the user the answer. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.